Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bike Club with Bay, the new series where I guess kicking off an old series, but the new series where we compare books to TV shows, I guess. But I am Bay, and this is Bay. Say hi, Bay.
Hi, Bay.
Today we're talking about the new Peacock show, Vampire Academy, based off the book by Rochelle Mead, Vampire Academy.
Is it based off of Vampire Academy, Bay?
I guess. Well, okay, so we'll talk a little bit about how this show came to be or who's behind it. So, we talked about this a little bit before. Like, one of my favorite shows in the world is The Vampire Diaries. And Julie Plec is the creator of The Vampire Diaries or something like that. Or is she creator, producer? I don't know.
She's something.
But she, as far as this goes, is I think the producer. She co-created The Vampire Diaries and the originals and Legacies, and she also co-created this show. So when we saw that, we were like, okay, because we both enjoy The Vampire Diaries and the originals. And as we both know, because one of the first book club streams we ever did was us discussing the differences between The Vampire Diaries and The Vampire Diaries. So that was one of the first things we ever did. We just sat and we talked about it. And there was no structure to it or anything. And this was 5 or 6 years ago at this point that we did this.
Oh, yeah.
It was a long time ago. Yeah. So, but I think one thing we knew going into it was if it's anything like Julie Plec's other shows, we're going to see some major changes. But we were hoping not. But we were hoping not because the source material that she had to work with The Vampire Diaries was very different from the source material you have to work with Vampire Academy.
Vampire Academy, like the book, with obviously like they would have had to create some filler scenes and stuff like that and side character scenes because obviously it's first person, so it's all just Rose centered, right? But aside from adding those additional side character scenes and maybe adding some fluff or whatever, that you didn't have to change a single thing. No. You didn't have to change a single thing, and it would have been mwah. Like, okay, to make it fit for TV or whatever, yeah, maybe make Dimitri younger or something. I don't know.
So, yeah, so let's talk about... So, I think a good way to start this off is let's talk a little bit about some of the big concerns with adapting Vampire Academy to a TV show. One of the major concerns, first and foremost, was always going to be the age gap, the age gap between Rose and Dimitri. Because in the original books, Rose is 17 and Dimitri is 24. Now, here's my argument. Somebody, one of our favorite reoccurring characters on Book Club with Bay, has already done this for you. She's already taken this problem of the problematic age gap and fixed it for you. She goes by the name of Jennifer L. Armentrout, and the characters are Alex and Aiden. And
yes, yeah, Alex is 17, Aiden is 20.
Or he's 19, I think, in the very first book.
No, he's 20. He turns 21.
Okay,
he turns 21.
I forgot,
but still, like that's not a creepy age gap though.
So she tries to de-yikes the age gap, but her solution is aging aging Dimitri down, basically. That's her solution. Okay. She also, when it came to setting up their relationship, she understood the assignment. Julie Plec did not. Whoever wrote this did not understand the assignment.
No, and I don't even know how old Rose is in this. It's not clear. I know she's under 21.
Is she, though?
Well, they make a reference to when they're talking about Lissa getting married. They're like, Lissa's like, oh well, everyone, but like the Royals are all married by like pretty soon after turning 21, and Rose is like, yeah, when they turn 21.
Oh, okay.
So that implies that they're younger than 21. And I think also, so I'm thinking that 21 is also the age where like they're meant to graduate in this, but it's not clear.
So I read an interview with the cast, and they did say, well, Rose is of age, quote unquote.
I think she's 18.
But
it's not said.
It's not said. It's not clear. It's also not even clear that they're in high school either, because
no, I think it's a training academy.
Yeah, it's not clear at all how old they're actually supposed to be, because like they're just going to bars, like. And the original source material, by the way, it's set in Montana, so it's set in America with American rules. This is set in Europe, maybe, but everybody has weird accents, so you don't even know. Everybody also...
Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's adjacent to Portugal. Like 99% sure.
Which I guess would make it to European stuff, but if your target audience is presumably American, then like none of this translates well. Also, I don't know who this show was for.
No.
Because some of the scenes were very HBO.
Yeah, one of my notes is literally, and you'll know where. Maybe you blacked this out. I don't know. It's from.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where is it? Oh, now I need to find it. God damn it. Oh, I can't remember what episode, but one of them is like literally just, I was not prepared for surprise Mason, but
I have that. I know exactly what you're talking about, because I went,
It was in one of the last episodes. I just don't know which one.
It was. I was not prepared for surprise Mason, and I didn't need that.
It's fucking weird. They're weird.
It was so weird. And one of the very first episode, we get surprise Andre butt.
Yeah, I missed that, thank Christ, but I saw it in the flashback to it.
And so I don't know who this show was for, who it was aimed at. Is it a teen show? Because it's a teen book.
Oh, beginning of episode 9. Beginning of episode 9 is when we get surprise Mason, but just for future reference.
I'm like, I don't know who this is for. So anyway, yeah. And so that was always going to be an issue. And I would just say, like, at this point, either age Dimitri down or don't adapt it at all or something. I don't know. Like,
or just leave it how it is and then just be like, it is what it is, yeah. It's in Montana, she's legal. And leave it at that. But whatever the hell they've done, it's confusing. Especially because, again, we're not given clear age rules. We're not given ages. So I'm assuming she's 18, but she's at least under 21, because I'm assuming her and Liz is still the same age. But it's not clear when guardians are supposed, or novices are supposed to be guardians. What age do they become guardians? That's not told. So it's not really made clear why it's concerning.
And they seem to have done all of this to avoid the weirdness with Dimitri, but I'm like, was it worth it? I don't feel like it was worth it.
I think it was also so they could have the sex scenes as well.
And was that worth it? Like, what the hell?
No.
What is with the obsession with like more explicit sex scenes in TV shows?
I don't know. I mean, most, like, a large chunk of shows do just fine without having it. Like implied sex is a thing. I wasn't prepared for like for semi-graphic, or in terms of like TV shows, graphic sex scenes. Wasn't prepared for that.
No.
Like, you watch an episode of Game of Thrones, you know that there's going to be graphic sex scenes. You watch Vampire Academy, though, a young adult novel.
That doesn't really have that much. I mean, they're really, like, on screen doesn't have that much sex anyway. Like,
yeah, I will say I did like it, though, how they had the freaking Aussie chick doing the majority of the swearing. And one thing that always did actually drive me, like, one thing that I do often ponder when watching TV shows or reading YA books is they're in situations where I'm just like, how is no one swearing? I know, and I know why, because it's a YA book or it's a TV show. I know why they're not swearing, but I'm like, there's no way in reality no one is swearing in this scene. So, and I don't know. Usually though, when I hear swearing in a movie or something like that, it's often, especially like when they're young, it feels forced. It feels contrived, and I don't know if it was because of her accent that it didn't feel contrived. Every time she swore, it didn't feel contrived, and I'm like, okay, I can deal. Like, I'm all for the swearing because it's realistic. Like, oh, of course she's freaking swearing, but I don't know. This whole thing is just fucking confusing, though.
Yeah, and I will just say though too, like I don't know if like the colorblind casting is really worth getting into. But the names in the books are clearly very Russian.
And the names in
And
the show are clearly Russian.
And we're in some kind of like Mediterranean climate. And
Yeah.
so it's very Bridgerton in that way. And probably
Yeah.
some other people who like have probably talked about it. So it's probably we probably don't need to get super into it, but like
I will say one thing just on that note. I don't know why they needed to race swap Rose, especially considering, right, they got rid of literally the only Turkish character in the series aside from her dad. Because like there's multiple black cast members, but they erased the Turkish character. Like Rose was already a person of color.
Yeah, I like but it doesn't seem like it seems like they went Bridgerton and went fully colorblind with the casting.
I know, it's just that ended up being like a big thing. Obviously, with the story change and everything, unless they, because she's clear, her dad in the show is clearly lighter than her mother in some way, because her mother is quite dark and she's quite light skinned. So unless they keep her dad as Turkish, because him being Turkish was a big part of his character in the book. That like with the,
I don't know. I don't know if that's
but I don't know if
be
they're going to keep that. But I liked it though. I hope they keep that because I liked that whole thing where she had the necklace of protection from her dad.
I don't know if that's going to be a thing anymore, just because it doesn't seem like they're doing background for anybody anymore.
Yeah, and I feel like also if that was going to be a thing, her mum would have given her the necklace at the end of the season.
Yeah,
because she gets the necklace from her mum in the book as well. I don't know. I just liked that her having the, is it Nazar?
I think I forget.
The evil eye, whatever it is. She has the evil eye, and I liked that. But oh well, it is what it is.
And it's like just because like the folklore part of it plays a pretty big role in the book, I guess, or like
I think that's why they had to change the world so much in some ways.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's just I know that people had people had different thoughts about it in Bridgerton. And it's just something I noticed. Probably if they had changed like names or something, it wouldn't have stuck out so much.
Yeah,
but
because also they changed. I can't remember if there was a lot of Russian language usage in the books, but they changed. I think
Dmitry, who's from Russia, speaks Russian a lot, but
no, I know, but I mean, like in terms of Moroi, like stuff. I don't remember, but in this,
not in the first book anyway.
Yeah, but in this they have Old Moroi, which in look and sound is still pretty Russian based.
Yeah, it just seems like if they were gonna go that direction, like it just seems like they could have done something more thoughtful with it.
Yeah, I think the reason they created Old Moroi is to explain the Russian names.
Maybe. I don't know. I just feel like they could have done something more thoughtful with it because I'm trying to because just like the way that they integrated like Nina Dobrev's background into like the Vampire Diaries or something, it feels like they could have just done something more thoughtful than like slap Old Moroi on.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It felt more careless. Like not that like the Vampire Diaries is a masterpiece, but
well, I think the changes in this are way more. I'm not talking about the casting. I'm just talking about the general changes. The changes in this I feel, are far more unforgivable than with the Vampire Diaries. Because when we started to actually read the Vampire Diaries, how many books did we get through? I don't know, because we were just like, I can't fucking deal with the sociopath that Elena is. This is fucking awful.
Well, the Vampire Diaries, like as source material, is not great. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how you would adapt that, other than not
and have it be watchable.
It wouldn't be
exactly. Whereas this, you could adapt it while sticking pretty true to the source material, and it would be
watchable. and really like the casting is not it's not a huge deal at all. Like I don't care. It's just something I noticed. And it just reminded me of Bridgerton, and I haven't looked it up because it's like 7 a.m. But I just wonder if somebody has talked about that and compared it to Bridgerton. It's just something I noticed. But in any case, the other, I guess we'll get into setting. Maybe we'll go ahead and go there first.
Yeah,
as our notes dictate.
So
my
kind
Google
of
Doc
covered some of it.
Yeah, is like where are we? I say where the fuckity fuck are we? Sorry, you can tell I was annoyed. Yeah. So in the books we're in Montana. We're not told. It's not clear. Also in the books we're in high school. We're given a clear rundown of where we are. So I actually read the book yesterday. I listened to it again. The first book. And we're given a really clear rundown of how it works. We're given like a class schedule, the differences between Lissa and Rose's class schedule. And we know that Rose in the morning trains with Dimitri, and in the afternoon she trains with Dimitri. She has her they have their specific classes in the morning, and the afternoon they have their normal classes. They are in high school, and when they graduate high school, they become guardians, and like that's how it works. And yippity doo dah, We're like, okay, got it. And like, is it a little weird that like this aristocratic kind of stuff is in America? Kind of, but aristocracy in America don't really go hand in hand. But
no, I don't know. Have you been to New England?
That's true. But
it doesn't go hand in hand in Montana.
But Rose comments on how it's very old country and stuff like that. I forgot also that in 2007, Rose called Dimitri cheap foreign labor in like chapter 1.
Okay, just give me one.
So the other thing about the setting is we don't really get a clear sense of how old Rose is or whatever, whether they're college aged or whatever. So I was kind of confused about that. The political system is more confusing and also a lot more integrated at this point in the story. So in the books, in book 1, that we have about Queen Tatiana, there are 12 royal families that vote on some council. And that's about as much as it plays into it in the story of book 1. And that works because you're kind of easing into like this complex political system.
Yeah. So there's one other thing as well that is in book 1 as well. So all the royals are lady or lord once they're adults. but the oldest member of each family is a prince or princess. And they are the ones that will be eligible for the throne whenever that pops up, and the council vote on who will be.
Well, it's the Queen Tatiana picks, or the ruling queen or king picks the next heir, and the council can vote to overrule it, but that almost never happens, is what it
That's
said.
right, yeah. Yeah.
So that's, but there's not really a whole lot of, but like, we don't really get into like the political jockeying really.
No.
In book 1.
No. Whereas
that comes later. But we're given some time to ease into it.
Yeah. And this one, we're kind of just throwing the deep end. The rules aren't explained because also by the end, Christian's the head of his family, and I don't know how. Because surely, like he's not from a small family, so there's older ones. So it's not really explained how. Like, there's a path like in this
because he has an
in the
aunt.
show. Yeah, but then she at the end.
Oh,
remember?
Sorry.
And that's why he can't go with them because he has to be head of his family. So I'm wondering, in this one, does it pass like the monarchs, like when I say the monarch, I mean real world, like the monarchs, the throne where it goes down, and then if he was to, then it would go to like a great uncle or something. Like, does it pass down the same way that a monarchy is handed down? I don't know, because we're never freaking told. But at least in the books, it's very clearly the oldest person in the family is the prince or princess. That's it. So, like, if you're from like one of the big families, like I can't think of. Well, I think the Ivashkovs were a really big family in the books. So, like, there's like hundreds of them. So, whoever is the Ivashkov prince or princess, I can't remember. If they cark it, then it could be like their 13th cousin, like 15 times removed or whatever, that then becomes the prince or princess. Whereas in this, it seems to be more lineal.
Yeah.
But we're not told. We're not told freaking anything. We kind of just have to bumble our way through it all.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things in this show. They don't explain a single thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not told anything.
Yeah, and it's really confusing. The other thing is like, can we talk real quick about this Strigoi design?
Do we have to?
Yes, we have to. Okay.
So in the book, Strigoi are they just look like a paler version, like typical vampire thing, right? Like they're just even paler than the Moroi. Because in the book, I think Abe is the only Moroi that we have in the book that isn't white, but he's also incredibly pale. He's just got like olive undertones as opposed to pinky. But the Strigoi are even paler than the Moroi. And other than them being pale, the only thing that really visually sets them apart is they've got a red ring. I can't remember if it's around their iris or around their pupil, but they've got a red ring around something.
Yeah.
And that's it. They're just pale with a red ring.
If we could just...
Yeah.
They're just zombies.
Yeah, and I thought maybe that would be like, we talked about it the other day briefly before we'd watched this. Wasn't sure if it was just going to be like that's their active vamp face, and then they have a passive vamp face where like they look people.
They look like.
And it's like, how the fuck do they hunt?
Because the Strigoi...
How do they hunt in the human world?
And they wear hoodies is what we see. But they're just like out at the club.
Yes. I had a note about that. What episode was that?
It's like episode 7 or something. Sorry,
yes.
I did take notes for episode 4. Okay, my notes are so unhinged. Oh my god, this is where he called her Rosa for the first time, and my notes are like, no, don't you? It's like.
Okay, so in my notes, because I didn't want to have to pause while I typed, and
Oh
I didn't
my
want to
God,
miss shit.
it's
I
so
was shorting
funny.
stuff in my notes. So in my notes, the Strigoi just Strig. And I'm like, and it's all in caps. I'm like, sorry, but that Strig ain't hiding in a fucking club. What the fuck? Because he's literally just standing there, zombie face, just standing there, and they're like, oh, look, there he is. And no one else is like, there's a zombie.
Right. So like in the books they can you know, you could like not notice.
Yeah, well, especially because they do their hunting like at night, obviously, and
Yeah.
usually in nightclubs
You
or on the
yeah, so
streets.
it's possible to not just notice a Strigoi. Like it's possible, you know.
Yeah, it's
So
dark. You're not
when
going to see
Rose
the red.
is so when Rose in the show is like, well, I get a tummy ache. I go, ugh.
Oh,
and
that
I
was
know
so over the top as well. Like in the book, it was like period cramps, right? But not like severe ones where you're doubling over. Just like, oh, my tummy feels a bit queasy, you know. And in
mhm.
this, she's doubling over, but she's still managing to fight them. I'm like, bitch, no, no. I'm sorry. If the pain is that severe that you're bending over, like almost head to the freaking ground, bending over.
Also it
You're not.
takes
You're not fighting.
Can we talk about how long it takes Dimitri to figure anything out in the show?
Well,
Because
well. Let's
because
talk
I'll tell
about
you
pacing.
how long it takes Dimitri to figure stuff out in the books.
Well, in show Demetrius' defense, they already knew they had a bond. Like it was known. They'd had a bond for years before when the book started,
Well, that's true, but like they know
and
that
it was
too.
known.
Yeah, I know, but like, okay, yeah,
But whereas Rose and Lissa don't even know they have a bond until what, episode 2 or 3.
that's true. Yeah, I guess.
So in his defense, I will say, the guy who plays Dimitri, one, I don't know if it was camera angles. He didn't look tall, right? But he never looked short.
He never feels tall though.
But he never looked short. And he does look better in live action than he does in photos.
Yeah, but he doesn't vibe Dimitri.
No, he doesn't. But there were a couple of times where he smiled, and I'm just like, okay, I could see why they thought he'd be the swoon-worthy cast member. I think it was episode 1 or 2 where he did like this little half smile. And I'm just like, you got me a little bit. Just a little bit.
Their chemistry was not good though.
I feel like that's her fault.
Fine, but actually, I had some notes when the first conversation he had with Tatiana. I was like, they have better chemistry. I'm sorry, he has better chemistry with Tatiana than he does with Rose. What do you want from me? It's not my fault.
Well, she doesn't have good chemistry with freaking anyone she's in the scene with, though. So I feel like it's her fault that they don't have good chemistry.
That might be true, but I'm just saying he has better chemistry with Tatiana.
Yeah,
Also, though, half of my notes, because of the way that they did Dimitri, or the way they did the story, half of my notes about Dimitri are like, you don't even go here. Like,
my notes about his first talking with Tatiana, that was when they were like, oh, why do you have a faith? Oh, because of faith. And he's like, yeah, well, faith. Is that the scene you're talking about?
the scene after all the people die at St. Jude's in the club.
I don't. Yeah, so is that like the one that's like 2 scenes before it? He's like, I'm going to be her champion.
No, this is like, it's like episode episode 3.
Let me see.
It's the scene that Rose and Dimitri dirty dance in public.
I will say,
Which
my
I was
note
like,
about that.
I was
My
like,
note about that
Dimitri.
is lifting mosh pit line dancing laughy face.
My note about that is like, my note about that is Dimitri, you don't even know her in all caps.
Yeah.
okay, they're gonna train together, but they've had 10 hearts to hearts. Can you even do this? How old is she? They've done dirty dancing.
Oh,
Is that even allowed?
okay. So the scene where I think this note would be from the scene that like where Dimitri's talking to Tatiana. That's my why does Tatiana continue to dress like a 45-year-old journalist? But the am I wrong?
No.
But the scene where it was like the one where they were talking in the church about faith and stuff, like a few scenes before he's like champion.
Yeah.
My notes for that scene are fuck off Tati, because 95% of my notes regarding her are literally just fuck off Tati. Then what the fuck D, fuck you, no, don't do this, fuck you, no, because I could see what was coming.
Dimitri makes the weirdest decisions in this. Like, he had nothing to do because he's not Rose's act. Like, okay, let's talk about it.
Can we talk about the pacing for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
How much time does this series cover? Because the way that they speak, it feels like it's gone on for months.
Right.
And like, but watching it, it feels like about 2 weeks. So like, there's the scene, I can't remember what it was, but like whenever Rose references, I've trained with Dimitri, I know his moves, or anything like that, or like you trained me better than this, or anything like that. I'm like, when you've had one training scene, that's it. You trained together once. It's been a day.
All of the scenes with Rose and Dimitri are literally him just like waxing poetic to her and walking up to her randomly and just being like, you should be a better guardian than this, like for no reason. And it's like, why are you yelling at her? Go away.
I know, and
she is a child. Be gone, thought. Like, go.
But and like part of me is wondering, is it because like now like I think Game of Thrones did this, right? Where now a lot of series are just like about 10 episodes instead of the old 22. But it still felt like time was passing, relationships were establishing in Game of Thrones. So that's not an excuse.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, though, if the showrunners are used to working in a 22-episode format, but they're like, no, everyone's doing the 10-episode thing now, and it's all trendy and shit. So so they're just like, well, let's cut out literally all of the things that makes it feel like any time's passing. Because it feels like when they're on tour, right? Like the Royal Tour, I'm like, one, how far are you traveling? Because I don't know how this world works. Is the Dominion all like one big thing? Or is there like multiple dominions that they have to go through, like all provinces that within the Dominion that they have to go through the human world to get to? I don't know. I don't know, babe. I don't know where anything is. I don't know what anything is. I don't know how far anything is. I don't know how much time has passed. Has it been a week? Has it been a month? The only thing I know is that between the car crash and Liz is sitting at the gravesite having a cry, I think it was 3 months. Yes. Or 5 months, whatever the hell it was. Because it said 5 months later or 3 months later. Yeah. Whatever it was. Other than that, I don't know how much time has passed. Because watching the entire series, if you don't listen to them referencing things as though they happened weeks or months ago.
Yeah.
It feels like it's 2 weeks. But I don't think it's 2 weeks. I think it's longer, especially with you trained me better than this, and after all the training we've been through, I'm like, you have had one training scene together.
Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. So in the books, Lissa and Rose, they're in a car crash together with her parents. Her parent and her brother die. And she brings Rose back to life, and eventually they run off and they're gone from the academy for 2 years. Yeah, they're caught, they come back, and to catch Rose up, Dimitri has to train Rose like one-on-one to catch her up to her peers, okay? That is how, in the books, Dimitri and Rose are forced to spend time together. So outside of those training times, though, Dimitri and Rose don't spend time together. Except for when something's really wrong with Lissa and Rose has to go
He's her
get him.
guardian.
But also in the books, Rose spends a lot of time with people her own age, and she doesn't just hang out with Dimitri.
Yeah.
So other than, and he's not like a teacher or anything. So like he's just a guardian at the school. So, or he's Lissa's guardian. And he's a guardian for the school. So
yeah, which while she's at the school is effectively a school guardian because they're like, well, let's pull our resources because it's better for everyone. It makes the most sense.
So he's training her. And so you know that they're spending time together every day.
Yeah.
Before and after school. Okay. And this is how they're forced to spend time together. The show does not have Lissa and Rose yeeting the fuck out for 2 years. So
they have, yeah.
So there's no them coming back. There's no Rose being behind. There's no reason for Rose and Dimitri to even speak to each other. And so in the books, Dimitri doesn't seek Rose out to like talk to her for like he doesn't just hang out with her or like talk to her. He doesn't seek her out or anything. Okay. In the books. This just doesn't. I was watching for it as I was listening to it. It doesn't happen.
I think the closest they come to that is when he walks in on her and Jesse making up.
Yeah. That might be the closest thing.
I think that was because she was grounded and he knew she wasn't in a room and he's like, I need to get this bitch back to a room.
Yeah. But he doesn't like, but they don't just hang out and chat. In the show though, because Dimitri and Rose have no reason to spend time together.
It's just weird.
The way that their solution to this is for Dimitri to just walk up to her randomly and give her speeches. And it's not it's not working for me, okay? The other thing is that like this removes Rose's arc because also there's like a Hunger Games style leaderboard. You remember like
I have so many notes about like the leaderboard and the freaking TVs everywhere and shit. Like,
what the fuck?
Wait, where is it? Yeah, scoreboard rankings are stupid. So but then episode 2 with the TVs and everything, I've got why are we in Times Square in a castle?
That's a good question. So we have Rose at the top of the scoreboard. So she has no reason to train with Dimitri.
Yeah.
And then and so it also removes any kind of goal that Rose has because Rose comes in to book 1 cocky as fuck because she's like, we lived for 2 years and like we all Gucci gang. I'm amazing. Fuck you.
And then she gets her ass kicked.
And then she gets her ass kicked over and over and over again. And then she's like, okay, I do want to protect Lissa and I need to like be super serial for real though. And then she actually has a goal to work towards. Okay, which is that she's been gone for 2 years and she needs to catch up and she has shit to do. So like she has a tangible goal to work towards. Whereas Rose is number 1 on episode 1. So it's like, Dimitri, you don't even go here, get out of the plot. Because you've removed his plot. You've removed the reason why he's here.
They removed so many things.
But like that is a big mistake to remove the reason why Dimitri's here in the first place, and any reason for him to speak to her.
We've got
that like big dumb move.
Okay, I feel like we're forgetting a very important thing. Why is Rose Australian?
That's a good question. I don't know. I guess because they didn't want to have her do an accent, which is fair. I mean,
but like an American accent.
Haley's accent in the originals was never.
It's because we typically talk a lot faster. Okay, I've actually noticed myself talking slower over the years, right? But Australians typically talk a lot faster, and so if you force yourself to talk slower, it kind of makes it awkward because it's forced. I don't know, but I'm 99% sure her mother's accent is not her accent. I'm 99% sure the woman playing her mother is not Australian.
Also, why is Janine Hathaway in this?
I don't know.
Like, I saw her on screen. I was like, why? I was
Because
like, get out of here.
they've got book 6 stuff in here. They got book 5 stuff in here. They got book 4 stuff in here.
I was
3
like,
and
Janine
2.
Hathaway, you're an absentee mother. Get out of here. Like, go away.
It and
Oh my god.
in the book it takes time for their relationship to like heal, right? It takes time. I can't remember at what point. I can't remember exactly what helps it heal in this series. I know it's starting to heal before the Strigoi attack on the school.
I don't remember nothing really.
But
Just
there was something.
her being around.
I think. Oh, Rose was training. Oh, that's right. Dimitri was. I think he was avoiding her because Rose had declared her love, and so Janine steps in to train Rose because she's at the school because her royal was at the
Also,
school.
the relationship too fast.
Oh, that was one of my other things as well. I wrote this when they were in the nightclub in Portugal. Well, where the fuck? What episode was that again? There we go. I'm like, there's no build up. They just keep advancing the plot, and we're supposed to believe every single relationship in this fucking show, and there's no build up to a single fucking thing.
Yeah, Dimitri and Rose. If you like Dimitri, you're here for the slow burn. Okay, that is a. He takes
They
forever.
are the epitome of the slow fucking burn. And no.
Rose and Dimitri are here to rip your heart out, okay? Like, what the fuck? Also, the last line, okay, it's like one of the last lines. This is what my fiance flipped the fuck out because I was listening to it out loud. When Rose says, "You are everything I never wanted to fall in love with," Noah went and like just flipped shit. He was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Especially considering. He literally
lost.
Dimitri was everything Rose would want to fall in love with.
Yeah, well, that too. But he flipped his shit. He was not having that. He was like, no. I was like, that. First of all, I was like, no, that was bad. But you should have heard all of Christian's lines. Oh, we need to go through characters.
What the fuck was the unicorn shit? What was the unicorn?
Okay, characters, real quick. We need to go through characters. No. We got off track. I know, but we need to get Rose. Okay. My notes are: how old is she? What does she want aside from freedom? Also, Rose in the books does want freedom, but not initially. By the way, Rose in the books is principled like Dimitri, and then she starts to want more.
Like she enjoyed fantasizing about stuff, right? But she never actually truly wanted it until Dimitri died. Spoiler alert, he doesn't die, but they think he's dead. And she was like, no, I will take all of Lys's fucking darkness. I will do all the stuff. I will do my job because she's my best friend. She's the most important person in my life. I will sacrifice everything for her, including what I want and my own happiness. And she's happy to do it. And then Dimitri dies, and Rosie and Lys is just sitting there like, I love Christian so much, and la 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 la. And I have no more darkness because Rose sucked it all out of me. And Rose is like, fuck you. The love of my life just fucking died. And you're just, yeah. And Lys is like, you can't leave me. That's rude. And she's like, fuck you. I'm leaving. And then she goes. That's when Rose starts to really be like, no, I need to do my own thing. And it took 4 books to get there.
Yeah.
And it felt, everything about that all felt good.
Yeah.
Thing. Whereas in this, it's just like, why are you and Lys even friends?
Yeah.
And it doesn't help also that the actress playing Lys has the amount of chemistry as a wet piece of cardboard. Honestly, they did not cast these people for their chemistry, but like she's kind of just old generically, I guess, but
because she feels like she's in her 20s, you know? Like, somehow,
I
even
think
though
she's
Nina...
18. I don't know.
All the actors are 25. So, like, for example,
so
Nina
they could be
and
anywhere
everybody...
from between 14 and 20.
Because Nina was, like, 18 or something, 18, 19, they all feel like teenagers to me in, like, episode 1 of the Vampire Diaries. Also because they're dealing with teen drama stuff. Like, if they had written in a lot of the teen drama stuff, like, book 1, there's a lot of, like, so much of, like, the
high
stakes
school gossiping and
our high school
and
gossiping.
Me is a mean girl
and who's sleeping with who, and there's a teacher bullying. Like, there's a scene of a teacher bullying Rose. Like, it's very high school, you know. And if they had written in, I don't know, it would have helped. Like, so my notes for Dimitri are like, Dimitri, he's literally just there. He stands around and gives Rose speeches for no fucking reason. And he really doesn't have a lot to do. Like, because of all the training sessions and stuff, like, you know how much time Rose is spending with him. So she kind of built up trust. And eventually, when things are happening to Lissa, she finally is like, I have to tell somebody. I need to tell Dimitri. Like, I have to tell him, like, what's going on.
I trust him. I know he'll protect her.
And it is also, like, kind of like an I need an adult thing at that point. And you get the sense of, like,
and I
need an adult, you know, like, I need an adult. And which is sometimes how I feel, like, when I get an email and I'm like, I call my mom and I'm like, I need an adult, you know?
And that doesn't go away. Like, my oldest is turning 7 in a week and a half. Yeah. She's turning 7 in a week and a half, babe. And I still go to mom. I'm like, Mom, what, like, one of the kids will ask me a question and my mom will hear it. And I'm like, can you go up the other end of the house? I'll be up in a minute. I need to have a think. And then as soon as they're out of the room, I'm like, Mom, what do I say? What do I do?
Yeah, but you get the sense that, you know, it's like, okay, you know, Rose finally hits her breaking point. The other thing, too, is, like, Rose has had 2 years of being Lissa's adult. Like, she's been her caregiver, and she's finally like, I need an adult. Like, I need an adult.
Because let's be honest as well, like, Lissa, bless her in the books. Bless her. But especially, like, beginning of book 1. She is a fucking pampered little princess, isn't she? She's like a toddler.
And you know what, though?
She's likable. She's likable, but she's a toddler.
Yeah, she is. And here's the thing, like,
it's not her fault she's a toddler. I think that's the likable thing.
I was, like, reading, you know, I was listening to Vampire, and I was like, I adore Rose. Like, she's an idiot sometimes, but, like, you get every decision she makes, you know, and
she learns from her mistakes, which is the nice thing.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. But, like, you get it. Like, her heart's in the right place, and, you know, sometimes the decisions she makes are idiotic, but also, especially once you understand, like, that she's absorbing all the darkness, you understand why she's a fucking maniac. But also, even without the darkness, especially without the darkness thing, though, you know that she's under so much pressure because she is basically Lissa's caregiver at this point, and she's trying not to embarrass her or bring in, like, any outside people. And you're just like, Lord bless her. Like, she's just having a hard time. They both are. They're both having a really bad time. And they're just trying to navigate the whole thing without any adult supervision, basically. And they're just doing their best. And you just feel bad for them.
Yeah, well, also, and you can also understand how they get to that in the beginning as well, right? Because they know they have a bond, which also automatically means, like, that they've been friends since kindergarten. So they've been best friends since they were 5 years old. So there's that bond. And then Liz's whole family dies, and Rose and her are the only ones that survived the crash. And they find out later, but because neither of them knew that Liz healed Rose for a while. But now they've got this bond, and they're like, wow, this is weird, but cool. And then Liz starts being able to, like, heal birds, or, like, and she starts having dark thoughts or anything like that. And obviously Rose, her best friend, there's all of this stuff built in, and then they keep having reasons to think that someone's trying to hurt Lissa, which ends up being true. And they keep freaking out, and then they run away for 2 years, and Rose is obviously making all the decisions for Lissa. And then they come back, and so like there's all this history built in to their relationship dynamic, and I think they try and have that in the beginning of the series, and they're just like, no, fuck it. Let's not do any of that. But I don't buy these two as lifelong best friends.
I don't either. The one scene I bought was like maybe the scene at the dock. It felt very Vampire Diaries, and I was like,
what when they do the lantern thing?
Yeah,
with that one,
I was like, okay.
I think that was when they were that's when they were still like trying to pretend, right? That these two were actually friends.
That scene I kind of got, but like, but like Lissa, I mean, the other struggle that Rose is going through is like now they're back at the academy and she doesn't have control over what's happening to Lissa. And she doesn't know how to deal with that. And that's really tough for her.
Yep. But I also have in my notes about that scene as well. I'm like, where is it?
I mean, the lantern scene is a scene from the Vampire Diaries.
Is this lantern thing the show's equivalent to them running away? Oh, yes, I guess it is. Because that's when, like, Demetria comes and rescues, and he's like, how dare you? And she's like, I was looking after her. And he's like, no, you weren't. I think that was the initial equivalent of them running away.
Which is not the same. I don't know.
They ran away to the dock for a day.
But the reasons behind them running away in the books are way more complex. So anyway, Lissa, my notes on her character are ... an absolute bobblehead, or question mark. Christian, his dialogue is giving Jeremy season 1. If he didn't break my spine from all the cringe every time he was on screen, he'd be my favorite, but I can't handle his lines. So Christian's character in this art is completely different from his character in the books. His character in the books is fucking hilarious, and I love him to bits.
He's such a snarky
He's a dick. Honestly, he's the female version of Rose. Or he's the male version of Rose, sorry.
And that's why they clash so much. But in this, they're kind of friends, which is weird. But like, and that's partly why him and Lissa work so much as well. Like, she's like just the sweetest. She's sweet as pie, very naive, whereas he's very jaded and sarcastic and blah. And so
they're amazing. I love Christian and Lissa together are so cute, and it's adorable. And he's great. And Christian in the books, also reading it, I was like, I like Christian less now. But he's hilarious in the books, and also watching him and Rose do battle is also amazing.
Because also, like, they're both of them, their favorite person in the world is Lissa, and they hate each other because like, each of them is like cuts into their Lissa time.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes Lissa's doing girl stuff with Rose, and sometimes she's doing like couple stuff with Christian, and each time they're like, I want my Lissa, and it's cute. Well, not as cute. It's fun. Because they're like, but no, it's my custody time. No, it's my custody time. How fucking dare you?
Yeah.
Especially when I lied before as well when I said like she leaves at the end of book 4. No, she leaves at the end of book 3. And book 3 is one of the funnest books because that's when they do the pairing. I can't remember what it's called in the books, but in the show at least it's the benchmark thing. And I'm pissed because Rose didn't get Christian.
I know.
But in the book she gets Christian. And and that's when they actually start to like become friends.
Yeah,
that's friends that bitch at each other though. Like like at that point, like after that book, that the two of them would literally kill anyone that tried to hurt the other one, but they're still gonna argue. They become siblings.
Yes. No. Christian and Rose's relationship is amazing, and I love them to bits. The characters are so lovable. Like, I'm sorry. It's such a tragedy.
I want to reread the series, but partly also because I want to reread Bloodlines. And you can't read Bloodlines without reading Vampire Academy. You just can't do it. You can't.
They're such good books. Like, I'm sorry. They're so good.
But yeah, we'll talk about the unicorn thing after we get through the characters. So let's go.
Yeah. Sonia,
every single. Sorry, you say your note first.
My note with her was like, as in the context of the show as a whole, like just the show, sorry. Sonya can stay, I guess. Like, she
was
wasn't
sweet.
the
She was
worst.
cute.
I mean, as far as a portrayal of Sonya, other than her being too young, I wasn't offended, I guess, but like,
yeah, I don't know how much of this was me being mum, but like every time she was on screen, I'm just like, I just want to like lock her in a cage and protect her from the world. She was just like this in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, her demeanor and everything was what Lissa was supposed to have.
yeah, she would have made a great Lissa, but like also she made a good Sonya too. Honestly, and I wasn't mad about her being Sonya. I like her character.
Her
Really,
show character was her show for who her character was on the show. Mwah.
yeah, she was fine. And same thing for Mikhail.
I'm furious. I'm furious.
I'm furious with what they did to him, but like,
I'm furious because like literally I'd been telling my mom literally about 10 minutes before that scene. Like dead set. I was like partway through that episode and it was 10 minutes before that scene and I was telling her about the show. And she's horrified with what I had to say, by the way. And I'm like literally the only good thing about this show is Sonya and Mikhail.
it was the only good thing.
Except for that one scene.
Which one?
Let me. Can you like search? Oh, mid-fuck dead raising. What the fuck am I watching? When they're fucking in the greenhouse and she over and raises the bird from the dead.
Yes.
Aside from that, and then the next episode, she's like, "Was that a bit weird?" And he's like, "No, it was hot." I'm like, "No, it wasn't. It was fucking weird."
It was weird, but yeah, no. There's
aside from that, they were the best thing about this show.
They were. I'm annoyed,
especially because I know in the books they get married. I'm not happy, but
they're adorable. Like they make my heart happy. Like because I got to see them interact, so I was like, oh, this makes my heart happy because I know that they get married in the book.
Yeah,
so I was like,
this is
this is my happy place.
Yeah, when he's like, because they have like the awkward interaction at first, right? And then, where is it? My favorite line of the entire series comes from this interaction. And so he comes back and he's talking to her again because he's like, maybe I should have made myself clear. I wanted to spend time with you, or whatever the hell he was saying. And then she just blurts out, "I talk to birds."
Yeah. Yeah. It was cute. I'm sorry.
Like that was my favorite line of the whole season. But then his response was adorable because he's like, "Cool." And she's like, "No, I talk to birds and they talk back." And he's like, "Well, what do they say?"
In chirps in French, what do they say? Like, yeah, it was adorable. I'm sorry. It was really cute. I was
then
like,
they did him dirty. They did him dirty.
I know. I was like,
I don't understand the foot tapping thing, though.
I don't get it either.
Like, there's other ways for them to show that they're mates, but anyway.
Victor. My note is I don't want to kill him.
I think Sonya does.
They redemption arced Victor kind of. Like, they gave us nice boy Victor.
Yeah, but then he became book Victor by the end.
Which, I'm like, pick a lane.
But he's not cunning. He's not cunning like book Victor, though.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how much of my... I had really mixed emotions towards Victor, right? Because he's played by... Oh, I can't even remember his name. J. August something. Whatever. He plays Gunn on Buffy. Sorry, not Buffy, Angel. He plays Gunn on Angel. And I love Gunn. He's great.
J. August Richards?
That's the one. But I didn't trust Victor because I'm like, they can't not make him Victor, right? But they didn't make him Victor for so long. And the difference with the books as well was Victor was always Victor in the books. We just didn't know it for a while. In this one, he actually wasn't Victor until he became Victor.
Well, and it's more like he becomes Victor by accident.
Yeah, but then by choice. But then it looks like he's regretting being Victor, so he's still not Victor.
So he's more of like
he's a major antagonist in the books.
So he's more of like a reluctant antagonist, which is fine because they kind of made Tatiana Victor.
Why did you have to make it Tatiana Victor when you had Victor just standing there going, "Hey, I'm Victor"?
I don't know. Because Tatiana, like, Rose at least doesn't like Tatiana in the books already. Like, she already hates her. She's already like, this stupid bitch.
Oh, and Tatiana's not even Tatiana, okay?
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
The Queen was amusing, but, you know.
We'll talk about the Queen when we get to her.
Yeah, that's fine. Victor's husband was unoffensive, I guess.
Yeah, well, just wait. So, in the books, Victor is just, I don't know what happened to, I think his wife got killed by a Strigoi or something. I can't remember. But in the show, he's gay and he's married to Robert. Now, do you remember who Robert was in the books?
No, because I didn't know.
Name, obviously.
I didn't know that. I forgot that they named his husband. I'm sorry.
Robert Daru. Is that ringing any bells for you? It's Victor's brother.
Why would they do that?
I guess because they decided why make him his brother when he can be his husband.
That's weird.
Yeah, and so in the show as well. Okay, so in the books, Sonia is an adult. She's a teacher.
They could have just made up a new character.
Yeah. Yeah, so in the book, Sonia is a teacher. She's a spirit user. She goes crazy and she turns Strigoi before the beginning of the series.
Yeah.
And then Mia is the mean girl until she all the bad stuff happens and she's like, I'm going to be a fighter, and then her and Rose become friends and it's a thing. In the show, Sonia and Mia are Victor and Robert's adopted daughters. And I do like that they had different names for them. So Victor was dad and Robert was papa.
Yeah. And Mia is like a Natalie Mia hybrid from the books. Kind of like how they squished Meredith and Bonnie together.
Who's Natalie again?
Natalie is the Lissa's roommate from the first book.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Was her name Natalie? Fuck.
Her name was Natalie.
I'm not gonna lie. I spent the entire freaking season trying to remember what Victor's daughter actually was.
Natalie.
But Natalie is also part Sonia as well, kind of.
Kind of. Well, because Natalie turns Strigoi at the very end of book 1 to break Victor out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more really because she's in school with them. It's more of a squish of Natalie and Mia.
Yeah,
is what Mia's character is.
Yeah, Mia. I like Mia in this.
I like Mia in this too.
And she has the same general arc as Mia from the books. It's just quicker.
Honestly, if they took inspiration from Natalie and Mia, I can see where they got that. But it's honestly, I'm kind of like, where the writing for Mia, where was that with the writing for everybody else? Yeah. But it's definitely, it's like, okay, it's showing that the show is, with that whole family dynamic, I'm like, okay, so you guys weren't incompetent. You just chose not to do it. Because here's the thing, that change is, it kind of condenses it and makes it maybe a little bit more clear, makes it some parts easier to follow because you have more character connections, which can be easier to follow in a shorter format. So it adds some complications, but if you do it right, you can make a change like that and have it not be catastrophic or anything, right? So it's not a huge deal. And I didn't mind it at all. I actually liked the added family drama in some parts, like with Mia having a crazy sister and feeling bad for thinking she's a crazy sister and stuff like that. I like that was an interesting part of her arc. And I don't know, she also reminded me of Caroline. I feel like they pulled that out, like, you know, the Caroline arc out of their pocket and used it. And but I enjoyed like the Mia Sonia parts of the show.
Yeah, especially as it goes on.
Yeah.
Like especially towards the end.
Yeah, I would have liked more of that. And here's the thing, I don't think I would have hated like a lot of changes if they were good.
Well, like the thing is, right, like, I'm gonna use, because this is one I can think of off the top of my head. So there's a book, World War Z, and then they made a movie, World War Z, and it was supposed to be based on the book, but it absolutely was not. Now, if the movie World War Z had been called literally anything else, I probably would have enjoyed it. But like, I found the book so compelling and everything, and I was really looking forward to the movie to see how they did it. By the way, if anyone ever wants to readapt World War Z, that you need to make it like a mini series, docu series, like 3 1 hour long episodes, and just have like a mini docu series. That's how you do it. But if the movie had been anything other than World War Z, it probably would have been a fine movie. With this show, if they had called it literally anything other than Vampire Academy, it would still be a shit show.
Yeah. Pretty much. And that's the thing is like the setup, like I said, I'm looking for, you know, if they'd given like Dimitri and Rose another reason to like interact or something, or the world building or whatever, like just give me something. Because like here's the thing, I went into it and I'm like, I remember, because I'm again a big fan of the Vampire Diaries. It's like my favorite show. Okay. I went into it figuring that Julie Plec would make some big changes. And I was like, I'm ready for it. But I was also ready for it to be competent.
Yeah.
And there were parts of it that were, like I said, the Victor family dynamic. I'm like, all right. I'm like, it's charming. I don't know. I was here for it. So anyway, Eddie was fine.
He was fine.
Mason, by the end of the show, God. My note was I want to hit him with a 2x4.
The more Mason I saw, the more Mason I didn't want to see.
My very first note about him was like, aw, he can stay. By the end, my note was I want to hit him with a 2x4. So that might tell you something about how I felt about him. Tatiana, I said we're pretending Julie didn't do that. The Queen, I said
like again, I'm going to say the majority of my notes involving Tatiana was fuck off Tati. Like I didn't write almost anything else for the scene she was in, just fuck off Tati. That was it.
Alberta would be less offensive if Dimitri was less offensive.
See, Alberta in the books, and I don't know why they couldn't have done this for her in the show. Alberta in the books, she was like that stern aunt that just wants what's best for you, but she needs to wrap you on the wrist, like wrap you on the knuckles occasionally. I don't know what the fuck was up with this Alberta, but she wasn't book Alberta, and she could have been book Alberta. With what they had in terms of her character, she could have been that, and she wasn't, and I don't like it. But she wasn't the worst, though. She wasn't the worst.
The other council people are making decisions they made in books and now have no weight because Rose is not 17 and like question mark keyboard slamming. I was so mad. I was just angry.
Yeah.
Because there's so much. Okay, so there's so much stuff thrown in. So again, I reread book 1 because I wanted to have a very clear idea of like what, and I only reread book 1. I wanted to have a very clear idea of like what is in book 1, how much ground is actually covered in book 1, and how much crap did they throw in here. Oh, Adrian's in this too. I didn't put it in the Google Doc because at the time that I sent you the Google Doc, you hadn't gotten it to that yet,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to.
Yeah, he was the closest to book character.
He actually was. So his intro set me. I started drinking at his intro.
Yeah, the
Which
more I think about it, though,
fitting.
perfect way to bring him in. Perfect way to bring him in.
I started drinking because I was terrified about what they were gonna do, and I was like, if they bring Sydney into this, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I think if it hasn't been renewed for season 2 yet, and if it does, I feel like Sydney will probably come in next season.
Yeah, but
and I'm gonna be pissed.
I have to be honest though. The more I think about it, the more I'm not mad about Adrian. Adrian's fine.
He's like 90% there. He's just not quite weird enough.
Yeah.
That's all it is. He's just not
Yeah.
weird enough. But I feel like Adrian was the least. Hey. I'm waving.
Yeah, like, but he was not, yeah, he didn't, it did drive me to drink, like seeing him in the bikini. That was it. I paused it and I was like, alcohol immediately.
Adrian's my favorite. Adrian's my favorite character. And I was terrified, but you did assure me though after I'd seen him that that at least this season they didn't destroy him. So
they didn't, and he's not there long enough to be destroyed. But the other thing that disappointed me though was that he
wasn't there long enough to be destroyed.
Well, was that he had more time with Lissa than he did with Bro, but I guess it wouldn't have mattered. I don't know. Like, I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Janine, she was there.
Yeah. And if I'm recalling correctly, in the books, we actually see Dad before we see Mom, don't we?
No.
Okay.
No, Janine comes in I can't remember if she's in, I think she might be in book 2. Yes, because she gives Rose the black eye that she has in book 2 when she meets Adrian.
Okay.
And then she's in book 3.
I thought she came in. I genuinely thought that we never saw her on screen. Like, I thought she was that much of an absentee mother.
No, she's in book 2, 3, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Not in a lot. She's not in a lot of scenes, but she's there.
Okay.
And her and Abe, and then her and Abe are there at Rose's like final exam thing, cheering her on, and then like flirting with each other after Rose like passes, and Rose is sickened at the idea of her parents flirting with each other.
So I guess let's get into the plot a little bit.
Okay. So I feel like we should just scroll down our notes and then just bring up. Okay, let's start with something that isn't technically plot, but it is part of the show. So I can't remember what episode they stopped it in. I think it was like episode 4 or 5. That freaking intro.
Yeah.
That intro. What the fuck is this cheap shit? It looked like someone's home movie that they were trying, like some AV club or something, and they were like, let's make a spooky show. We need a cool intro, bro. And they did it, and they're like, you know what? Yes, this actually this will do. Am I wrong?
No.
And then because episode 2, I'm just like, oh, the intro is in every episode thing. Great. Episode 3, this fucking intro. I stopped taking note of it, but like for the first 3 episodes, I'm like, no.
So I'm just gonna go through mostly the Rose and Lissa highlights because we don't have time for everything else. But
wait, no, Queen. We didn't talk about the Queen. I need to talk about the Queen though.
Sorry.
Okay, why did they keep trying to make her sound like a hip young thing? Like episode 1, her first scene. the queen's like, this is going to be one hell of a party. I'm like, why is the 200-year-old queen referring to things as one hell of a party? And then when they talk about the royal tour thing, she's like, we're going to party hop from province to province. I'm like, why is the queen saying party hop?
I don't know.
And it didn't sound natural. Like, you could tell it was like some woman in her 60s going, why am I saying party hop? But she was.
I don't know.
And they kept doing stuff like that. They kept making her say weird shit that isn't... Okay, again, it's not weird when you hear like a 20-year-old say it. It probably even wouldn't be too weird if you heard me say it, because I was saying that in the like my youth or whatever it was. This bitch is like, she's over 200 years old because she's been queen for 200 years.
Yeah.
The bitch is like 3 centuries old. This is not the speech of her youth. And she doesn't hang out with young people. So why is she saying party hop? And it's going to be one hell of a party. Like in a royal address. Because this isn't even a casual conversation. Like the we're going to party hop thing, that was her like introduction to the royal tour. Like, she's giving a speech. And she's like, hello and welcome to the royal tour. We're going to party hop from province to province and do a thing. So let's have a fantastic night. I'm like, why are we saying this? And it was awkward. But she also did make me write in my notes, yes, queen, slay.
Yeah.
It was in reference to her actually slaying.
Yeah.
Like, literally at the end.
So we start off with like, the parents dying and 3 months later. And then we skip, and then
so when Liz is at the grave sites,
yeah,
I'm like, okay, so Liz apparently turns into Yoko Ono while she mourns.
We're out. Can we talk about Liz's wardrobe? The choices.
Everyone's wardrobe.
But Liz,
everyone's
wardrobe. The choices the Fluffy has, it was a lot.
But when she was there with the glasses, and then she wears them a few other times when she's trying to be like incognito and stuff.
And it's the least incognito thing ever.
Every single scene that she's wearing those glasses in, I'm like, oh, Yoko Ono is back. Great.
It was bad.
But then
it was a choice.
Yeah. But then when she comes back, right, and Rose is like, oh, I see a car in the distance. She jumps off a tower.
I have that. I have Rose can fall from 50 feet. What?
Yeah, I wrote, why the fuck is Rose jumping off castle towers? Rose, that's not safe, fam.
I was like, no, she can't. Also, okay, yeah, that also presents a problem though, because the in the books, the how do you pronounce it?
Dampiers.
Dampiers. They don't.
Okay, so what Dampiers are, right? Like, okay, so like you take a horse, right? And it's pretty. Like, some horses are strong, right? But they're pretty, and they can be pretty fucking delicate, especially with their skinny front legs, Horses are like your average horse. I'm not talking draft horses. Horses are delicate. Donkeys are donkeys. You put them together and you get a mule, and a mule's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The Moroi are Arabian horses. Pretty spirited, whatever, but they're pretty delicate. Humans are donkeys. Yes, we are donkeys. Dampies are mules.
Right.
And they're better than both.
But they can't jump off buildings. They're
better than manual labor. But apparently now they can jump off of buildings.
I mean, Rose in the books gets her foot caught in a bench and snaps her foot off. Like, I was like, how is she jumping off a building?
I'm pretty sure there's a point in the book where like Rose sprains her ankle pretty bad because she jumped out of a 2-story window.
Yes. And yes. Yeah. And
now she's jumping off of castle towers. Sorry,
I was like,
a turret.
Well, also another note about the show. Sorry, I'm sorry. ADHD brain really bad today.
Yes, that's fine.
The choreography in this show is trash. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's bad. Also, they took the whooshy sound effects from Vampire Diaries and put it over very slow moving choreography. And it's...
You want to see good fighting choreography? We need to watch Buffy. I don't care if it's not comparing books to the TV show, we need to watch Buffy. Especially season 2. Some of those fight scenes, and season 3, Buffy vs. Faith and Buffy vs. Angel. Oh, amazing!
Because I also, real quick though, Vampire Diaries had good choreography. I'm sorry, like the choreography was pretty good. Like in a lot of the scenes, between the vampires.
One of my biggest criticisms about Vampire Diaries, and I'm so glad that it's not in this. They had a habit of taking a giant chunk of their wrist, like half of the flesh, and just casually ripping it out.
It's just
every episode. Just not just a bite, right? Like you could see, they would pull and spit. I'm like, why are we ripping hunks out of our wrists every episode? That is not sanitary. I'm never going to be okay with it.
But and that's not to say that's not to say that Vampire Diaries didn't have some shoddy choreography at times. They totally did. But the vampire choreography was pretty good. But this choreography was ridiculous. Like it was what?
We also talk about where they train. They train in like a glowy rectangle outside.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I can't.
In a castle.
I know.
Like I feel like a lot of like the command room, the Guardian command room, that looks like a freaking like the president bunker in every single movie you see, like where there's a president, he goes down like into the basement of the White House and he's like, oh, I never knew that this was down here. And they're like, well, this is the Secret Service Command Center, sir, thing. Like every single one of those. That's what they had for the Guardians. And then they had the Times Square TVs everywhere. They had the scoreboard. They had the glowy thing. It might not have been so weird if the setting wasn't a fucking like ancient Britain castle.
Yeah.
But it was. That was the setting.
It was. So anyway, Rose jumps to her death and the show's over. Anyway, so we're setting up a plan to separate Lissa and Rose for some reason. Oh, okay. What did I say? I don't even know.
I don't know. Oh,
Rose can fall from 50 feet. What? Oh, Dimitri meet cute vibes are off. Codependent vibes are off. Rose's expectation of guardianship makes less sense here because they didn't yeet off to the human world and get caught. So that's their
bond.
Huh? And there's no bond.
And I didn't know they had the bond
right,
yet.
and so they don't really have a bond yet either. So so Rose's expectations of always being with Lissa make a lot of sense in the book because you're like, yeah, she's been responsible for this bitch. Like she's been making all the decisions, she's making financial decisions. It's been like a time.
She's also got built-in radar for whenever Lissa's in danger.
So her expectation of always being with Lissa makes sense. Her expectation here is not set up.
And then we meet Christian.
And then, okay, so I looked it up in the book. The first and I hadn't been reading the book yet, but the first conversation between Christian and Lissa is kind of the same in the book, but better because he's asking in the book what happened in the outside world and all of that. But now they don't have that, so he can't ask it. So it's just awkward, but
he transferred there. Yeah, and he transferred there while she was off mourning for 3 months. But I do have a note there, right?
Also, they're not in an attic.
Yeah, they're in the library.
They're just out in the open.
Yeah, so she's trying to learn Old Moroi. She needs to recite a passage in Old Moroi to be head of her family, which is her. And she's like, I can't do this. And he's like, I'll help you. And then he just reads it and she repeats it after him. And they don't practice or anything. He's like, whatever it is, he says each line and then she repeats it and then he just keeps going. And my note is, this is not how you learn a language. There is no repetition. There is no repetition. When I taught, because both of my kids know our phone numbers, and when I taught them, I'm going to make up a phone number, but I was kind of like doing an army chant to them. And I was like, 0478, and they'd repeat back 0478. And we just practiced that over and over until I could say, go. And they'd be like 0478, and they knew. and then I'd move on to the next bit because they knew the first bit. But he's just like, oh no, I'll just read this through with you one time and then you'll know it. And then she knew it, and it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
This is not how you learn a language, babe.
I know. So.
And then there's something to do with like them training, but then my notes go back to Christian and Lissa, and I say, okay, I'll buy Christian having a thing, but Lissa is a plank.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I don't know what. I think maybe stiff as a board is what I was trying to know. I just knew as I was writing it. I'm like, plank is not the word I'm looking for, but it'll do.
I said, okay, vision's high. Okay, the family peer moment is cute. I'm here for that. Get Dimitri literally out of my sight. Because he's just training. I think it's just a scene of him on a tower doing Tai Chi or something.
I've got, why is D half naked on a turret?
Yeah, I said, get Dimitri literally out of my sight. And I said, anyway, stay out past night. A zombie attacks. Dimitri save. The one good Dimitri moment so far. They made Dimitri look like a moron. So I guess I literally didn't feel that way for very long.
Yeah. Oh, and also back to the scene with like Victor's family. I've got a quote from Mia in that. Liz is a twit. I feel like that's going to be an accurate statement.
Alyssa's named heir to the throne.
Yeah.
So that happens really fast because that doesn't even happen in book 1.
Yeah. And then with Christian and Lissa again, there was something like he's like, you're a unicorn, like precious and rare or whatever the fuck he said. And
I don't know. Yeah.
Question mark. And I'm like, oh, puke. Oh, ill. Oh, fuck off. Ill. Christian. No.
I should have kept a tally for how many times I said gross out loud.
Yeah. And then my next note is, oh, ill. Rose and Mason, ill. But then, okay. I did cackle in this first episode. And I was trying to remember what it was, but then I just remembered. So, Rose and Mason. And he's like, well, she's like, and Rose's like, I just need to talk to Lissa. I just miss Lissa. I miss being able to see her or whatever the fuck it is. And he's like, well, if Lissa was here right now, what would you do? What would you want to do? And then it cuts to her laying there with her head in his lap, his hands on either side of her face, having girl talk. And I cackled.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no wonder she doesn't want to date you. I'm sorry. If my husband and I, we obviously have had many a deep conversation, right? But it's never been prefaced with, let's have girl talk. And if he was like, let's have girl talk, I'd be like, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. What would you do if no one wanted to have girl talk with you?
I don't know.
I don't think the only thing that would have made that scene more cringe would have been if like one of them was doing each other's hair, and by that I mean him doing her hair because his hair's short, or painting nails. Like I was on par with that. But yeah, I laughed at that. And then I can't remember how the episode ends, but I wrote, what a stupid fucking ending.
It was Lissa being named heir to the throne. But so Rose and Lissa are separated because of Rose's naughty behavior. Tribunal to decide Rose's future. Dream about crash night. Very vague. Sonia and Mikhail make my heart hurt. Lissa and Christian are the worst thing on the planet. Dimitri, go away.
Right. I've got Sonia and Mikhail better be goals or I'm a riot. Looks like they are her, so huzzah. Oh, young, naive me.
It's so weird to see Dimitri seeking her out because he has no reason to. It makes no sense. It works in the books because he can't get away from her and like actively avoids her. Oh, also when he's assigned to like train her, because okay, so in the books he's like, well, we should keep her because they have a bond, and they're like, yeah, who's gonna train her? You? And he's like, well, that's not what I meant by not me. Like,
yeah. But and then they're like, actually, no, that makes sense because you'll also be her guardian. The two of you are going to be guardians together. You two need to know how to fight.
And he's like, hold on, wait, I didn't sign up for this. And they're like, nope, you did. Fuck you. You get to deal with it. And he's like, shit.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even want to train her in the books. Like he's like, I didn't ask for that.
Poor Dimka.
So
Oh, I don't know what he said. I imagine it was something on par with "You're like a unicorn, precious and rare," or whatever the fuck he said last episode. But I wrote, "Christian, why they do you dirty like this? No one talks like this, especially not you. Fuck the writers, poor Christian."
probably. I have Dimitri go the fuck away, stop lecturing us, leave us alone, stop, it's so weird, you don't even go here. And then I have in all caps, Dimitri, get your mom and sisters out your fucking mouth. You haven't earned the goddamn right.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what I have in all caps.
I now have. I can't believe neither of us have remembered to bring this up. All right, stop eye glowing. It's creepy as fuck. It's fucking weird. Why is everyone's eyes glowing? So, in this, Rory's eyes can glow. And if you are royal, your eyes glow yellow. And if you're not, they glow pinky purple. I don't know which one it was. It looked both.
Yeah.
It looked like halfway between pink and purple. And it is the stupidest freaking thing I've ever seen in my life. Why do their eyes glow?
I don't know.
It's so stupid. And they use it as like, oh, I'm just going to a party. Glow. And they're like, no, you're not royal. You can't come to the party. And that's it. Really. That's about it. But I don't get it. I don't know whose idea it was, but that person should be fired. Because that happened in scene 1, and I was just, Then I wrote, Mikhail is a good egg. Why the fuck are they so culty? I think it had something to do with they all wearing their red robes and stuff, and I think it was all for her specialization ceremony thing.
Yeah.
Like they're so culty.
They are.
Like it didn't all the rituals and stuff that they had to do, which wasn't too much in the books, but whenever there was a ritual, it didn't feel culty. In this, it feels culty, and I think it doesn't help that like I have this note later on, but like they all dress like they're in the 19th century, if not earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the scene. Sometimes it's earlier. Like the girls, like when they're on tour, they're at some ball thing or whatever, and like the girls all have like the big ruffle collars, and then the men often wear those high collars with the little.
It's very Bridgerton
Ribbon bows.
In the like non-period specific where like it's not period specific to any. I mean, they take period specific stuff, but they mishmash it because sometimes it's just a prom dress.
Yeah, it's the clothes are weird.
Yeah,
and it took me up until I think the last episode to work out why Rose always looks so weird when she's in her training clothes, which is what she's wearing like 95% of the show. Her shoulders are so damn broad. For someone that short, her shoulders should not be that broad, and if they're not that broad, then that uniform did her dirty.
I didn't really notice that at all.
And she looks like a fish. Her eyes are like on opposite sides of her head. There's Vampire Academy. Wait, where are we? Wait, maybe I should put Sissy in because I'm getting the other chick. Is it 1S or 2S? Like,
I mean, but that's how she's described in the book, though.
her shoulders are wider than her hips.
I mean,
by a lot.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Unless it doesn't carry herself right as well, but I don't know. It could even just be the cut of the jacket. I don't know because we don't really see her outside of it, but it just makes it look like her shoulders, like instead of like here, they come out to like about there.
And some people have broad shoulders. I don't know.
I know, but she has a broader. And I feel like that jacket is not the right outfit. It's okay, babe.
I don't know. I thought she looked fine. I didn't notice that at all.
It also could be as well because the jackets don't have a collar. I don't know.
And then there's like a fighting scene, and Dimitri's like, "You're fighting like a Strigoi for some
Oh
reason."
yeah, because she was getting
Whatever.
out of control because she sucked some of the darkness out of Alyssa or something at that point.
And I was like, "Huh." And then he's like, "You'll never survive a real world attack." But at this point, she's already survived a real world attack, and
Yeah.
so that was dumb. And then, and then at this point, we find out that they bonded the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, are they training? Is he a teacher? What is happening? Like, I could not figure out what his position was supposed to be because we don't really see him talking to the adults. We see him palling around the kids.
Well,
and I was
and also
what?
especially because episode 1, Rosie's like, "Why are you just standing out here in the middle of the day? It's fucking weird." You know, I know that everything, like the turrets are good, the gate's good, the this is good, the that's good, and he's like, "Okay, well, I'm new here, so turrets, gates, etc., etc. I'm familiarizing." And then again, because it feels like no time's passed, it feels like it's the next day.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you no longer being vigilant? Now, if it had felt like 2 months had passed, or even like 2 weeks had passed, then it wouldn't be so weird. Because he's comfortable now. But it's the next day, or it feels like it's the next day. I don't know how long it's been.
Yeah, I just and then there's some treaty. Oh yeah, this was funny. There was like some treaty in 1497, and I was like BRB, and I was like trying to figure out why they picked the year 1497. And I did find there was some kind of trade agreement between the Russians and the Ottomans, which I was like would have been a hilarious reference. It was just like a random. I was like that would have been funny, but I'm pretty sure they just picked a random year.
Actually, that would have actually fit well in the book world because the Russian and Abe is Turkish.
I was like that would have been. I was like, but I don't. I was like, I'm not giving them that much credit though. But there was a trade agreement between the Ottomans and the Russians in 1497, but I don't really feel like that was what was happening.
No, but that would have been so good.
It was also like, Vasco da Gama and Amerigo Vespucci, which is probably why I recognized the year and it stood out to me. Somebody issued like some new law code in, I don't know, some things like nothing crazy, nothing super big happened in that year. But I was like, is there a reason they picked it? I don't know. Me personally would have picked it because of the Russian and the Ottoman trade agreement thing. I would have been like, ha ha ha. I would have felt clever.
I think they probably just randomly went, what's a year long ago? And then in the meeting mining mode.
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't know. And I said, who the fuck is this random leaving the gate? Jesse Zeklos. This is when we get introduced to Jesse Zeklos, but he has a very different role in this show. I completely forgot about him.
I have a note. I think it's in the last episode or the second last episode. I think it was the last one. It was something like, what the fuck even is this Jesse and Silver plotline, and why the fuck should I even care about it? Because at the end of the season, I don't know why I should care about either of them.
I don't either. Well, because he's so uninvolved in everything else.
He's there when they need a car.
Yeah, he's the car friend.
That's about it.
Then it's tribunal time, and she literally yeets from the tribunal, and then we never hear about it again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know it. But so Alyssa has to show what she specialized in front of everyone, and obviously she at this point she still don't know about spirits, so she's like, I haven't specialized, and then Christian helps her fake file.
Yeah. And then Dimitri in a bar with drunk Rose. I was like, okay, well, I love the trope, no doubt. What I struggle with to recall a time when Dimitri would ever in a bar.
Yeah.
I was like,
All right.
Dimitri. I was like, Dimitri would never in a bar.
Yeah.
He would never.
I just wrote them drinking at the bar is fucking weird.
And Rose, and I said, Rose is 17. Where is she getting shots?
Europe.
Lissa and Christian make out. Rose sees it. Totally unearned. Dimitri catching Rose an arm while Mason stares longingly. Sonia talks to birds. I think that bad CGI was an aura.
Oh, honestly, all the CGI shit and like the compulsion.
I have a question. The listening. We had a perfectly good compulsion. Just reuse it.
Just the dilating pupils or whatever it was.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
Honestly, for the rest of forever, that should just
like
be
golden tongue. Golden tongue was meant to be metaphorical because I'm pretty sure golden tongue is used in the book at one point.
Yeah, I
but
know.
Also,
but
also, all Moroi have compulsion, but in this, only spirit users do. And one thing that they do have in the book is some spirit users can do some things that others can't do. So Lissa can't dream walk, but Aiden can. Aiden struggles to heal, but he gets better at it.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. And then he gets really good at it accidentally. Just once though. And that, yes, their compulsion is like super compulsion, but that's inherent to all spirit users. But
it was bad. I was like, why not just reuse the pupils thing from the Vampire Diaries, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, it was bad. Rose gets to. I don't know why Rose gets to stay. I don't know what was happening. Having the same dream. Strigoi planning. Sonia figures out. Okay, Sonia figures out that like the Strigoi are planning things. She can stay.
Yeah. And then when Jesse's coming back, I'm like, someone's about to get eaten. And then, let's just stand there 2 feet from the woods with the Strigoi right there. Sound smart, you dumb fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like, why do they always do this in shows, right? Like he's literally like 2 steps backwards from safety. Just 2 steps. 2 steps. Didn't even have to go back in his car. He chose to. Don't know why. I would probably wait till morning and go back for the car. But he and then he turns. He's like, "Oh, random Strigoi," and Strigois are like, "Ha," and he's like, "Ah," and Strigoi's like, "Er," and he's like, just standing there. I'm like, no.
I don't know. I don't know.
And what the fuck is that guardian doing? Why isn't he just like grabbing the back of his shirt and going? Done. But no, and then I'm like, wait, how the fuck are they climbing? Because it's not made clear at the end of that episode, and I think that was intentional, so now I'm not mad at it. But we go from that, right? Because he jumps into his car, and then the Strigoi jumps on his hood, and he drives through the woods, and the Strigoi burns up. And then we go to a bunch of Strigois going, and then climbing walls and jumping over walls. And I think it's meant to look like it's at some Vlads, but it's actually some Jews. But so I'm like, how the fuck are they climbing? End episode.
So so then in episode 3, there's a Strigoi attack at not St. Vlad's, it's St. Jude's. Lissa and Christian were being disgusting at some point. And then I have LOL, hey mom, what the fuck? Because mom's there to lecture.
Oh, well, before that though, they're like having a chitty chat. Like the queen is having a chitty chat with like advisors or whatever. And they're like, we need to increase the Dampy numbers in the long run. And she's like, are you saying we need to tell them to fuck more? And they're like, no, that's not what we're saying. We're just saying they need to replenish the numbers and do their duty. And she's like, so you're saying we need to tell them to fuck more? And then, oh wait, no, the announcement comes after. But yeah, they're like, no, we need the Moroi men to. And again, none of this is explained, but we're going to talk about the forced prostitution this episode. Because that was fucking weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's not like that's not in the books, but in the books
it's just a thing that happens, right? Like it's a thing that no one really wants to discuss, but it happens and it's a thing.
So
And yeah, mommy's home.
So then she's, asking, she's lecturing, and Rose is punching her mom in the face and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then after the mummy drama, we go to like the Queen making the announcement of, "All right, men, you must do your duty. We will be making women from the communes available to you." And they like it cuts to them like leading in a bunch of women and like men like picking one and being like, "I choose you, Pikachu," and then they go and bang.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, this breeding thing is fucking weird. And I'm like, oh, forced prostitution, fun, because you can either be, if you're a Dempy, you can either be a guardian, or if you get assigned to a commune, it is literally like you don't have the right to say no. If Maury comes and goes like, I want to stick my dick in that, if you say no, then I can't remember what happens, but something bad happens. Like it's like no. Your job is to make the babies. Chop chop.
Yeah.
And yeah, in this one, they're literally bringing women in from the communes to just like give to men and be like, okay, go get her pregnant. And Demetria's sister is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my next note is, I wonder what the wards entail here. It's just a couple, because in the books it's just a couple of stakes like pushed into the ground and they're blessed. And yeah, it's I don't know. It's weird. They don't really quite explain, but they're like, we can't do it early. That requires monks. And they're like, well, let's get monks then. But then the way that, I don't know, I'm wondering if they have to renew the blood on the stakes, because obviously they have to reuse the same stakes because they couldn't work out how to replicate them. But I'm wondering if they have to renew the blood of the other elements on the stakes to make them stronger again.
I don't
But
know.
why doesn't monk have to be there? Because of the religion. It's weird.
Also, yeah, the religious stuff is less.
Well, in the books, they're just Catholic in the books. They're just Roman
Eastern
Catholic.
Orthodox.
Oh, Eastern Orthodox.
But also it's not as like strong because basically Rose is like goes to Kurova.
Yeah.
Because she's on house arrest and she's like, hey, I found Jesus while I was out fucking about on college campuses. Isn't that fun? And Kurova's like, your mom's an atheist. And she's like, and my dad's probably a Muslim. However, I am I'm a Jesus freak. That's what I am. Me, Jesus freak. He's like, praise be to Jesus. Can I please leave my dorm room?
And go to
so
church.
She goes to church.
To hang out with Lisa.
Yeah. So we find out that way that like her mom's an atheist and like even though she doesn't know, we find out that it wouldn't be weird, for example, for her dad to be a Muslim.
Because she knew that he was Turkish. She knew that.
Right. Yeah. But it tells us whether or not her dad is Muslim. It tells us that it wouldn't be weird for him to be Muslim in this universe.
Yeah.
So in the books anyway.
Yeah. Whereas in this one, I don't even know what their religion is.
Yes.
They
Old
worship
Moroi,
the elements, I guess.
Yeah. Praise be the sun baby.
Yeah, and in this is
what I gathered.
Because so Vlad in the book he's a Christian saint.
Yeah.
Who happened to be Moroi. And in this, all of the saints, I don't know what made them sainty aside from St. Vlad, but the royal families are descended from the saints. And they're originally called the saints, and then they changed it to royals.
Saint Vladimir is an actual saint, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know all the saints. I'm bad Catholic.
I don't know either.
Saint.
I mean,
yeah, Vladimir the Great.
Yeah. Has he actually been sanctified?
I don't know. It doesn't say saint, but when I type in Saint Vladimir, Vladimir the Great comes up. Christian reign.
See also the Order of Saint Vladimir. It looks like this is where she got Saint Vladimir from.
Yes, and Vladimir is the patron saint of the Russian Catholics.
Okay, that's where.
So maybe they're Russian Catholic then. Maybe they're not Eastern Orthodox.
Well, she says Eastern Orthodox though.
Okay.
I don't know, but I mean it's fictional, but I think this is where she's pulling from.
Yeah. So yeah, he's St. Vladimir of Kiev, the patron saint of the Russian Catholics. Yeah. So yes, he was. Like he's a real saint. So yay. So St. Jude, by the way, I know that St. Jude is a real saint, but yeah. So in this, the saints are the original royals that all the royals are descended from.
Right.
So that's their religion, I guess. I don't know. The religion doesn't make sense because it's never explained. Nothing about any of this is explained. We kind of just have to work it out as we go, which is rude.
Where were we?
Forced prostitution. I wonder what wards entail here. Why the fuck is he bandaged? Oh, because at some point Demetrius' hands are bandaged, I think, and not in a situation where they should be bandaged. The hounds, and then I laughed.
It might be easier to talk about the plot without going episode by episode. So the ultimate plot is that Tatiana is vying for queenship, and she has kidnapped Andre. He's not dead. Yeah. She's kidnapped him, and she's holding him hostage with Christians, and she's working with Christian's parents to do all these Strigoi attacks to try to wipe out the Dragomir line and make herself queen.
And I'm kind of hoping we get a season 2 purely just because I want some answers.
Yeah, because I'm like, huh?
I'm confused and it's gonna haunt me. But I also don't want to watch season 2. So I think I'm gonna be happy and disappointed no matter which one they choose.
Yeah.
Christian and Lissa, they break up, then make up, then break up, then make up. And he's like,
they get married.
Yeah. But they don't realize they're married until the queen's like, "You're married, Joe," and they're like, "Oh, okay." And because one of the things I had to do is like the blood on the face thing, and and Lissa's like, "We have to do a blood marking," and Christian's like, "Ew." I'm like, "Why is that ill? You're a fucking vampire."
Yeah, it's always weird when vampires are grossed out by blood.
Yeah, like, I mean, I wouldn't be down for it, but I don't think maybe I'd be like, "Oh, that's weird," right? Because I'm human and don't have a lot. Like, we like our blood on the inside, and that's about the it, right?
I mean, it would be like taking food. It would be like if somebody said, "I need to put spaghetti sauce on your face." I'd be like,
"Yeah." Oh well, when you think about like holy water, because we drink that, yeah, and get marked with holy water all the freaking time. Well, not recently because bad Catholic, but they get weirded out, and I'm like, "Why are you ewing?" It's dinner. It's fine. But yeah, they're married, and at the end, Rose and Liz are leaving, right, because of Tati, and Victor. Oh, Sonia turns Strigoi because she keeps healing Victor because he's got. I can't even remember the name of the syndrome, but he's got random syndrome that makes Stengabi's. I'm just going to type in Victor Dashkov. Give me a second.
Stragovski's?
No. It starts with a S and ends with an EVs.
Something syndrome. I'm sorry.
Dashkov.
I don't recall.
He has there Sandovskis.
Cool. I'm sure I said a lot of things. I'm sure I said a lot of things that circled around that, but nothing.
Yeah. So it gives him the shakes, right? I think it's like the vampire version of MS. And that was a really weird thing in this as well, because it felt like no time was passing. I'm like, why the fuck is he like, he gets healed and then 10 minutes later he's like got the shakes again?
Yeah.
So him having the shakes again was one of the big indicators of like, I feel like more time is passing than what is actually passing.
Yeah.
But Sonia heals him. Because Mikhail gets turned into a Strigoi and dies. And then Sonia's like, I can't lose you too, Daddy. And she's like, and heals him. And then she does it again. And then the darkness overtakes her and she kills a feeder while she's eating and turns Strigoi. And then at the end, she's like, and bites. And we don't know what's going to happen there. But he also kidnaps Lissa at some point, or I guess locks her in a room and makes her heal him. Also, when she healed him, that was the stupidest thing. Like in the books, he tortures her into healing him.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's just like, oh, someone's got a hold of Rose. Fine, you want my power? Take it! And it's really dramatic, but it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing is like has the don't threaten me with a good times vibe. Like, how dare you punish me by giving me exactly what I want? And yeah, so Rose and Liz leave to try and hide from Tatiana. The queen is dead because she gets poisoned. Tatiana is now queen. Dimitri's staying behind. I don't know why. Because of his faith.
They don't know either.
They don't. He's like, I could come with you. And she goes, but then you wouldn't be you. So I don't know. If it was, you need to look after Christian, you need to protect Christian, then I would get it. Because Christian has to stay, because now he's head of house. And it's like, I need to try and help you from here, Calissa. Mason is maybe dead, maybe alive. We don't know. Mia and Meredith are in a relationship.
Yeah.
That relationship had the most build up.
Yeah.
Out of but it was still really weird and rushed.
It was rushed, but also because it was a side character relationship, it felt less rushed, I guess.
Yeah. Like, Rose and her mum like make up at the end, but I'm just like, well, that fixed everything, I guess. Because her mum's like, I'm so proud of you. I feel honored to be fighting with such a great guardian. And Rose is like, me too. I'm like, you should hate each other.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have that big thing where, like, because in the books, like, Janine's like ended up like trying to be like, look, I couldn't not be a guardian. I couldn't raise you. I wanted to raise you. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to do this. I fucked up, and all I've ever wanted is what's best for you. I'm sorry. And Rosie's like, then why'd you leave me? And she goes, because I fucking suck. And Rosie's like, okay. And they kind of, it starts to heal. It's a bit weird at first, right? But in this one, it's just like, oh, I felt good to be fighting alongside such a good guardian. And I tried to make my accent worse there. I don't know if that happened. And then Rosie's like, you too, mother. And then they're like, okay. And then at the end, she's like, here's your father's information. And she's like, thank you, mummy. And she's like, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, I love you. I love you too. I'm like, when did this happen?
Yeah, because like in the books, for example, Dimitri like is like, your mom's like she's like pretty neat. But he's also telling her, he's kind of also dispelling some myths for her about like the communes and stuff like that, because that's where he grew up. And Rose, being kind of an irrational teenager, is like, Dimitri had a better childhood with blood hoarders than I did with like a super amazing mom guardian.
But then and Dimitri kind of calls her out on the hypocrisy of her thinking, which a lot of our feelings are not rational and a lot of them are contradictory. But he's like, so should your mum have raised you in a commune then? And she's like, no. Like, our job's to be guardians. And he's like, well, how could she? So she did the right thing. No, I needed my mother. And he's like, so she should have raised you in a commune then. She's like, no. And he's like, well, what the fuck do you want? And she's like, I don't fucking know. I'm a teenager.
Yeah. And like, I get it, because she's in, like, a no-win situation.
Yeah, and that's kind of when she expresses her anger at this world. So that kind of, like, opens her, like, but having someone actually, like, spell it out for her like that kind of opens her up to being a bit, because then he's also like, but because then she's also like, she gave me a black eye, and he's like, well, you kind of did the wrong thing in that fight thing too, and she's like, fuck you, and then they argue, and then her mom's like, I never meant to give you the black eye, I'm so sorry. I slipped. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like, whereas in this, it's like she's like, grr, and then wild mom appears, and she's like, oh, hi.
Oh, can we talk about the fight between Dimitri and Rose?
Oh, can we not?
The character assassination of Dimitri. Can we just?
They kept enough Dimitri in there to make him be like, can't fight you, Rosa. But I'm like, what the fuck? That whole thing.
That fight killed me. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, that was stupid. And look, I know that they're like stronger than humans and stuff, but they're not like jump kick someone literally across a freaking room strong.
No.
They're not. But the way that they make them fight, and the way they are, like, I'm sorry, that the way
also,
that they were fighting, they wouldn't have been able to chitty chat in that, right?
Also, Rose's ability level is wildly inconsistent throughout this, because at one point she's top of the class. The next moment she's getting her ass kicked by Mason.
Yeah.
The next moment she's getting her ass kicked by Dimitri. The next moment she's beating the shit out of Dimitri.
Yeah.
Or she's confident enough to be like, oh, I know his moves. Oh, I've got this. And you're like, huh?
And it's like, you've trained with him twice. You've trained with him twice, and one of those trainings was running.
But I'm also like, Rose in the books pretty much knows throughout the entire series that, like, Dimitri's gonna wipe the floor with her ass. Like, it's just
like, even when she goes out to like hunting down his Strigoi in the book, she's like, look, it would have been pure luck if I could beat Dimitri in a fight, and now he's a Strigoi. What the fuck am I gonna do? But I have to try. That's where she's at.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, she's like, I'm the only one that can beat him. It's like, but you can't. The only reason she beat him is because he let her.
Which I'm like, accurate, but like, what the fuck? I don't know.
And I'm sorry, but Dimitri,
so
but Broody Dimitri also is not mosh pit, dirty dance, line dance, like the lifting up line dancing. Why are the Dampiers line dancing in a bar?
I don't know.
In a bar, babe.
Also, never once did he wear a duster.
He was wearing a brown jacket towards the end. Yeah, no, he wore a duster.
Did he?
Yeah, in those scenes, I think we only saw him like really from like here up, but in the last scene, he was wearing a duster.
Because that's like
his trademark. Yeah, occasionally, I think I only noticed it twice. Even though like it was meant to be like, no matter how hot it was outside, he was wearing his duster.
Yeah.
There was. No, where? I need to find. There was something that I really wanted to bring up, and I can't remember what the fuck it was. Oh, that training thing when they're like out in the field, and they have to like guard, and they're like, we're gonna make the rules. Like, they can't bust out blood pouches if we don't have them on, and they take them off, and the whole vibe of that.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to find, there was something. Oh, the way that the light thing works as well. Like, it's like, I don't absorb darkness. It just takes away my light. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It gives you darkness. It's just like, maybe if I just recharge. I guess that's kind of, I don't know. I'll see what their plan is with that. But oh, I remember what I wanted to bring up. It was on the topic of wardrobe. So when they're out in the human world, right, and they pull over and they're looking out at the humans, right, and then they look at each other and like, I guess we need to change our clothes. And wait, what episode was that in? Yes, I was like, yes, you do need different clothes. And then it cuts to them after they've changed, like they walk out and do the big reveal. And my note is, please go back to your old clothes. Did you see what they were wearing?
I did. Wardrobe in the show was a choice.
Like, at least when they were in there, right? Like, we know that it's a thing there, right? Like, it's a thing. I don't have, like, and occasionally there was the occasional cute outfit, sure. Most of them were trash, though, or funny, or both. But when they go out to the human world, I'm sorry, there is no excuse. I'm gonna find it. It must be found. Where? Because I'm not okay with it. Okay, I'm not okay with what they were wearing. Come on, open up. There we go. Oh, what episode was that in? It was episode 7. Okay. Let's turn the sound down. Oh yeah, because when they sneak out as well, Alyssa is wearing the puffiest of puffy fucking hats. What is with all the furry hats that they wore?
I don't know. It was so weird.
Like at the end, like yeah, I think it might have been in like the last episode when she's wearing like that incredibly giant pink one. That one killed me.
Yeah, because that's her incognito look, and I was like,
Yeah. Okay, I found the scene where they come out. Yeah, I approved of the way they dressed Adrian. I approved of that. Because yeah, that's fine. That's unoffensive.
I mean, the Speedo was a bit much, but
I'm just looking at him when he's wearing like a blazer, a button-down shirt, and a tie, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
When Adrian was like, "I'm no good in a fight," I was like,
"Yep, that's fine."
You're not.
Okay, share.
Yeah, what are we wearing?
Like, I mean, at least this one's dark, so like the clothes. So it's a bit more hidden. But she's wearing a puffy jacket, red leather pants. And Dimitri's looking like, there we go. Oh, it's a skirt. That is a look. And Dimitri's looking at her like she's like, oh my god. Like, look at that wistful look.
I can't.
Over that outfit.
I love Adrian's like private prep school look though. Like, it's funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, his outfit is like, I'm not mad at how they dressed him. Let's see, he's wearing
Adrian's
a dusty
fine. Okay, yeah.
Sorry. It's all leather though.
his I don't know, his vibe's just off for me.
Like, I feel like if this would have been a better look, then that.
I don't know what Liz is wearing. Like, is this what the kids wear these days? Is this how it works?
I don't know, but actually, we'll be able to find incognito Strigoi in the club though.
Here, just in case. Oh yeah, there.
There we go.
Very subtle.
You know what though? Like, because I brought it up, we need to.
Oh god.
Let
me know. I just don't want anything to pop up.
No, I'm not gonna let surprise Adrian Butt show up. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I pressed stop. My bad. Restart playback. No. Whoops, I should have gone continue playback. No. Too far. This will work too. No. So I'm trying not to like make it play so you don't get. Oh god, hurry up. There we go. There's Yoko.
It's a lot.
Oh. This whole
just whatever is happening here. This was like one of the times that I have in my notes, like, Dimitri, get out of my face.
Like we weren't exaggerating that he's half naked on the turret. Sorry, while I'm here, I want to say what. Oh, okay, that's what the ending was. Rose having that weird ass fucking dream, then looking out in terror. Okay. Sorry, I just figured while I was there, I should say what that was. But yeah, I don't understand this show, man. I wish that it would have been easier. Like, just for expositional purposes, it would have been easier to have them leave for 2 years and come back.
Yeah.
Because then they could be explaining what's the same and what's changed.
I don't know why they chose not to do that.
I don't know either. It's weird.
Because, well, and again, also, like, especially for the relationship with Dimitri, like, he feels so tacked on the entire time.
Yeah. But you saw that wistful look, right? That look there is why I think the lack of chemistry is her fault. Because he's able to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure. But the other, I mean, part of the problem is it's not necessarily his acting. I mean, part of the problem's the lines, you know.
Liz's acting is awful.
Part of the problem is the lines, like some of the lines that they have him say, like just walking up to her and being like, "You fight like a stripper," and you're like, "What?" Excuse you.
I hope you can dance. And then they line dance. I'm not getting over that line dancing scene.
I don't like it either. But they don't have like, you know, you don't feel like they actually spend any time together, because the implication is the only time they spend together is when he walks up to her and gives her speeches. That's the implication.
Yeah.
Also, all this stuff that happens to Lissa in the book, like her being stalked and stuff, you know, and all the dead animals. Yeah. And like none of that happens. So like you also don't get this sense that like Rose needs to protect Lissa, or that like Rose needs to actually go to anybody for anything or whatever. You know what I mean? Like none of that's happening. So there's no like build up to their relationship. And then I don't know. all of a sudden her tits are out and he's tattooing her alone in a room.
Oh, that was one of my notes as well. I'm like, why is she coming during a tattoo? Because she was like, he's doing it, and she's like, and like she's breathing and she's doing the face, and I'm like, why is she? Bae.
Also, she never has a tattoo, so that he didn't do it because it's never on the back of her neck in any other subsequent
No, it's
scenes.
this tiny little sideways thing.
Oh,
It's not like my one.
I didn't see
that because I have Monia marks,
but
you know, it's like a little tiny sideways squiggle of a thing. I'll see if I can find one, but before I do, where is it? Oh, also the scene when they do the line dancing thing, right? Because they're doing the Dampies are doing their remembrance of the dead people, right? And so they're toasting all the people that they love that they've lost or whatever. And then they're just pegging their glasses into the fireplace at the bar. I'm just watching that. I'd be so pissed if I owned that place.
I know, right?
It's rude. Oh, yeah. We don't have to put this up, but I just want to play something for you. And then the line dancing's about to start.
Yeah.
You can see it's a lifty mosh pit line dance, and it's weird.
It is weird.
Dimitri's not doing that in any reality.
I know. I was like, what? Who are you and what have you done with Dimitri?
That's freaking weird. Okay, I'll go to it.
Also, here's the thing. If at like a club in the human world, Rose tried to get Dimitri to dance, he would just smack her upside the head.
I know, right? So I'm just trying to find a shot of the back of Rose's head. Oh, her hair's down. Great, Rose. Oh, the season ends with Andre turning Strigoi. We didn't mention that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, her hair's up in this scene. Oh, but she's wearing a jacket. Great. I did see it. I just can't remember what episode I saw it.
I forget what they're even talking about. Like, oh, also, there's like a weirdly like a full half an episode where they're like kind of together and like making out fully in public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh.
And also, it's not actually established to be a taboo either.
Maybe
because her and Mason make out all the time.
Yeah. We didn't discuss this disaster.
Oh, him and Tatiana making out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And presumably doing fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. And how many times did Lissa and Christian break up in this? Like, I had no idea at any given point if they were together or not.
I know, right? It was a lot. Because here's the thing too. Dimitri would not.
No, he would not. Okay, what episode is this one? 9. Okay. Ah! Sorry, I'm just trying to find this damn Monia mark.
I mean, I believe you. It's okay.
I know, but now I feel like I'm going crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I did see it though. I do
Yeah,
distinctly
don't worry
remember
about it.
seeing
It's
it.
okay.
Oh, that outfit. Um, what was I going to say? Yeah, no, I don't even know what the fuck this show is, babe.
Him and Tatiana getting is so weird.
Yeah, and like, and then nothing happens.
Yeah, there's no fallout.
I don't want there to be a season 2, babe, but I need there to be a season 2.
But also
I feel like they did this on purpose. They're like, look, this is going to suck, but if we leave enough unanswered questions, people are going to demand a season 2 for answers.
Can we also talk about Mason? Like Mason.
Oh, I don't want to talk about Mason. He's fucking. Book Mason was good. Like my note for Mason when he gets like potentially killed right at the end. We don't know. He's in surgery, and then the season ends. Is Mason finally dying? Yay! That is my note.
I cry when Mason dies in the book.
I know. But we actually like Book Mason.
And it's not and like Book Mason is into Rose, but he's not trying to go toe to toe with Dimitri.
No, and like he worships Dimitri. But I don't know. Like I think them sleeping together in the show kind of like that's one of the big changes. But also, are him and Eddie even friends in the show?
I don't think so.
Because they're best friends.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, Eddie feels like
Pointless.
Sorry, in my head, Eddie's like a really tall, buff guy. Is how I picture Eddie.
No, I don't think Eddie's tall. I think he's like the 5'10", but like broad.
That's how I picture him as like I don't know. Like not super scrawny or whatever. I don't know. Like
Yeah, no, I picture Eddie as like the broad, like his torso is almost as wide as his shoulders.
yeah. That's how like because they I don't know why my brain was like they made him a chipmunk. But
they made him a chipmunk though, to be fair. Like I don't want to compare it to the books, but it's kind of hard not to because it's literally I don't want to say based on. I'm going to say incredibly loosely inspired by. And every time I watch, like with every episode, I'm just like, this could be the book. It could be, and it would work. The book would work.
Yeah.
Because there are some things that don't translate well to screen. Like one of the issues in Hunger Games, especially the first one, because she's alone for most of for a good chunk of the book, in the map, like in the thing arena by herself. And we spend all of those chapters just inside her head. And so everything that she's working out in her head, you can't really make that translate to the screen well. So they had to get creative with that. Whether or not they succeeded in their creativity is a different story. But that book would have had a hard time translating to screen. Vampire Academy does not.
Well, here's the other thing too. A lot of the secondary scenes are already built in because a lot of the scenes we have flashbacks.
Yep. We have
Rose scenes with
Lissa's eyes. Yep.
Yeah. So you already have flashbacks that to be thrown in. And you already have scenes with Lissa. So you already know what she's doing.
Yeah, and you can work in scenes like with Mia in there. You can pop them in when she's hanging out with Eddie and not Eddie, Jesse and I can't remember his friend's name.
Ralph.
Yes. I think it could be that. Like, all of that kind of stuff. You can fit that stuff in.
Yeah.
And you can fit in more of, like, Christian being ostracized by everyone and that kind of stuff.
Like, it wouldn't be hard.
No. Like there's plenty of scenes that are alluded to and plenty of scenes you could create out of thin air that wouldn't change the plot, but would give you more time with those secondary characters. Because, yeah, TV show, you can't just follow the main character around the whole time. Or could you? Like, has that ever been tried?
I don't know. Like,
So
yeah,
maybe someone should try it, and maybe this should have been the book to try it on.
Because I'm like, why not? Like, because you say that, but I'm like, yeah, but why not? Like,
yeah, as soon as I said you can't just follow the main character, I'm like, but why?
I'm like, because we do it in books all the time. So I'm like, but why? So why couldn't you? Why couldn't you just do that?
Someone needs to give that a go.
I mean, because doesn't that draw out the mystery more? Like, if you're not showing somebody, like, plant. Because, like, imagine instead of, like, showing somebody mysterious planting the dead rabbit, you just show Lissa finding the dead rabbit.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you don't...
Well, yeah,
it draws out the mystery more.
Why can't we ever just follow the main character?
Because a lot of times the side characters are the most annoying part of a TV show.
Yeah. I'm having a mental blank on what the term is because I'm sick and it's late. What's the term for, like, it's third person, but, like, you're centered on the one person still. So it's like limited. First person, third person. Limited. Yes, why can't we have a limited third person TV show?
You know, I don't know. I don't know why we've decided that's not allowed.
Hey, babe. When we win Lotto,
we make...
we're going to make a limited third person TV show and see what happens.
Yeah.
Preferably we'll win enough to buy the rights to Vampire Academy and go, whatever that was, we're fixing it. Sorry. The movie sucked. The show sucked. We have to do the movie. But the movie sucked. The show sucked. The movie tried to do the right thing, but the execution was terrible. Let's not talk about the show. Let's do this properly.
Yeah. We'll have to do the movie.
Yeah, you're going to recognize the movie as Vampire Academy, but you're going to wish you didn't.
Okay. I wonder how I'll feel about it after watching the show, though.
I will say, the guy who plays Christian, I found him so repulsive in Vampire Academy, right? I found him repulsive. And then he played Jace on Shadowhunters, and he was blonde. And I no longer found him repulsive. I don't know if he was also just older in Shadowhunters. I don't know what it was. Yeah.
So what are we doing next? Because I'm, like, barely awake. I'm sorry.
What do you want to do? Movie or succubus?
Let's do movie.
We'll do movie.
Okay.
We'll work out when, but I need to go to sleep.
Yeah. I need to go back to bed. I'm so tired. All right, let's do it.
Okay. Well, in that case, then.
So, to answer the question, was the show any good? The answer is no.
No, even if you pretended it wasn't based on the books, the answer is still no.
Yeah. So anyway, the books were
better.
We
watched it too. Yeah.
Yeah. But
pray for no season 2.
I don't. It was more content. It'll be fine.
No, I just hope that they don't do a season 2, but then they answer all the unanswered questions. They just tell us.
A memo.
Yeah, they just tell us what would have happened.
Yeah. All right. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do the movie next, and we'll go from there. So we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.